Hello everybody, welcome back to the Grand Mafia. Happy New Year. I'm back from my break. So if you don't know, I was away for Christmas and New Year. I went to China. China has changed a lot. So if you haven't been there or if you have been there for like 5 or 6 years ago, even more than that, so you probably should go back because it's very different. It's pretty much very advanced right now. So it's nothing. If you're coming from like me, I'm living Australia, but if you're living in this like a similar Western country like Europe or America, and maybe you will see here and there talking about China, which is something like 50 years ago. Maybe you might still think about people are still doing the line dancing things over there. Actually, quite different now. I will say a lot like a big city like Shanghai. It's like New York, or even better than New York. And even some second tier city like I went to Hangzhou and Guilin, and it's pretty clean, especially Hangzhou. It's like I got a vibe of Korea or Japan like that. So of course it's not about talking about my trip. The thing is, Happy New Year, guys! I'm back, and there are a couple of things like you probably might notice. Number one is my influence back to 1.2 billion influence because Government War finished. So in the last Government War, I was saying definitely my deaths for T4 troops would be more than 4 million, but at the end it's actually 5.4 million. I fought pretty hard. And maybe if you are pay to win player or if you are the raid leader, you probably will say, oh, 5 million deaths is nothing. It's not injured, like injured, right? It's deaths, right? It's like, in my thing, 5 million is nothing. But I'm a free to play player, so accumulate troops is not easy. Not to mention, I'm not R4, I'm not R5, I'm just merely R3. So I actually have a picture which is showing my situation. If you can see from here, so there are totally 5.368,000, so 5,368,294 association like in the government war deaths, and I got 1.6 million back. And among the deaths, you can see the majority just like a T4 troops. There are some T1 troops, but most like most of the deaths damage are coming from T4 troops. So that's number one. So after I got my troops back, which is I got 30% back, so my influence back to 1.2 million. 1.2 billion, right? So, and the other things I want to talk about, which is you might notice, which is I'm no longer with my old faction AMF, because obviously I changed my faction, and I've been with AMF faction for almost 3 years, and I fought very hard in the last Common War. I just show you the T4 deaths from the Common War, and I feel it's the time for me to explore the new world after service the family for 3 years, and therefore I start looking for another faction to join. And in my past video, I talk about like as a free-to-play player, or even if you are pay-to-win player, when you want to transfer the city, you want to change your faction, and what the tips are. So that's what I want to share with you, right? That's what I'm sharing with you. So I will take myself example. This time I left MF, and then I'm looking for another faction. Of course, I'm not like I just quit the faction AMF and then start looking for. So after Government War finish, right? After Government War finish, usually there is like a month's time break, and then this is the time for you to start looking for the new factions. I applied a few factions. Some faction reject my application, but some faction accept my application. So my current faction is called Fatality, right? It is TU5. They are based on the city 514. So before I was at city 385, and I moved to 514. Of course, like that's a city allowed me to relocate to, because if you don't know, on the map, like they have the restriction, which is where you can move to, right? I'm in the veterans like a phase. So this is all the city I can move to, right? I can move to up to 592, right? And for the newcomers, of course, you can go to city like even go to 600. I think for this like game, the city which is like you can go up to 785. But of course, those maps are for the new account, right? I think they are very different. They have different gameplay, which is something like you have this like a government war style territory, even on a city map. But for me, I'm still, because my account is created after this new gameplay is introduced, so I'm not able to access to those features. Maybe in the future I will create another account, or maybe those features will become for available older city like my city 540. I can talk about that. But first thing first, we're not looking for the factions. There is very important thing I will look at. Of course, everybody will look at like first you have preference, right? You want to go to an older city or you want to go to a newer city. And for me, I prefer newer city. That's just natural of how I want to play the game. I want to go to a newer city because newer city might be more active. It's not always the case though, right? So some older city like might still very active, but usually newer city, the people play the game like less time comparing with the people in the older city, so they more still they feel they are more fresher. They're fresher, as let's just say, and so therefore they're more active. And also you might encounter some players they are less experienced. If you go to a city like a Nanti, for example, right? People been there for like 10 years. I'm not saying this game has been 10 years, but you see what I mean, right? So like you go there, you pretty much find that the city is like not as active as city like 700, and I find a lot of people probably already know every single thing of this game, and when you fight with them, they're not really much like surprise or wow you find it out, right? But if you go to a newer city, I just feel for my appearance, like I find some people they still not very experienced with this game. So actually some tricks still works on them, so that always makes me smile. So that's why I prefer newer cities. It's just my personal opinion. Hope they help you. So like first you want to move to a newer city or older city, or you just want to change your faction in the same city, but I think most of the time you want to change the city, right? And then number two, you want to go to a strong faction. So I mentioned it a couple of times in the past, a strong faction is not necessarily means influence. Yes, influence is a very good indicator about how strong the faction are, but also what really matter is how much the benefit. Let me just be selfish and for your benefit as well, to just like what's the purpose of changing faction. Most of the time is like you want to change it to a place you can get more benefit, and the more benefit the faction can give you usually come from those factions they are active, and also they usually win, right? So to win, you have to be active. To win, then the people have to join the fight, right? And how good is the new faction can fight? It's not purely on the influence side, because in my last video, I already demonstrated to you guys some faction they have very high influence, but they're just a bunch of farmers. I'm not going to name the faction down, but there are plenty such factions out there. So in order to look at the factions which actually can fight, therefore can bring you the benefit, you should look at if they have good raid leaders. And in my past video, I said like a good raid leader usually look at the kills. Those factions they have the kills, like the players have a good raid leaders. They usually have over 1 billion kills, right? Because even for my free-to-play account, I have like 282 million kills, right? If you want to look at some good raid leaders, then they usually need to have over 1 billion kills. Just let me very quickly go to my full faction, and let me just go there and the mob 385 is here, right? Just look at this city and for example, this is my old faction, right? You can see the members. Sorry, you can look at the player kill rate rating, right? You can tell this is a good raid leader, this is a good raid leader. So they have 4 good raid leader. Maybe this one counts as well. But majority, you're looking at it, some people have over 1 billion kills, right? More people have this number of kills means the better faction. The reason being I left AMF is I want to explore new world, but also at the same time AMF kind of like in the past 3 years I've been with them, the up and down, and then now probably it's on their lower side. They have some issues, and one thing I do want to mention, I feel how to express. I feel complicated after I left this faction. Of course, I've been servicing them for 3 years. I have some feeling on them, but at the same time, once I left the faction, they just zeroed my farming account. Right, my farming account is still active because I log in every day. And once they saw me left the family, and then the next day when I come in, they kick my farm count out and zero it, and they capture my on the boss of my farming count. How to express my feeling? It's complicated because you will think I'll be servicing them for a while and that they might have some leniency, right? Because we've been working together for so long. But I'm not going to like drag on these dramas. Still, I have respect on the raid leaders over there. But what I'm just saying is like you should look at the kills, right? Look at the kills. So what I do is I start looking at tap on your profile, right? And then if you go down, you can see their rankings here. Can you see the ranking? Which is here, right? I'm highlighting that right now. Can you see that at the bottom, right? Ranking, right? Is around this area, right? Click on that. Then what you want to do is I remove my camera here. So you go to global ranking because you're trying to change the city. You're not going to look at the city ranking because that's only for you to look at your city, right? You look at the global rankings, right? You don't look at the person ranking, you go to faction ranking. And instead of looking at influence ranking, you look at the faction killing ranking. This is a very good indication, right? To see like what's the other really real gold factions, right? So you can look at it like this faction is strong because like look at the kills, 145 billion kills. What kind of killer factions are, right? Killer faction are, right? You look at it, but of course, as I said earlier, like you want to go to older city or a newer city. I'm not saying I prefer some newer city, but that means older city is not good. It's just I have solid proof here. This faction is 78, such an old city, but it's still very good, right? Then I'm looking at, because I'm coming from city 385, I'm looking at any faction which has more than, like, which is newer than 385 and also have good kills. Then I look this one, oh, a bit old, this a bit old, getting close, getting a bit close, right? And then 500, oh, this looks good. Then I was doing this, like 521, right? I was looking at those. And then look at it, this one, okay, kills like this. For example, I look at it, okay, this 521 looks good. Where is it? And the influence 150, pretty good. You might want to apply for it, right? But sometimes, like when you go there, they find the recruitment is down, right? Like when I joined the faction, and then sometimes it says the recruitment is closed, so I can't apply. For example, I was applying for I'm. NNV, I heard there's some drama in NNV. A lot of people left. No, still they're pretty strong. Never mind. I was tripping, right? And the GXB, and this is also a good faction, but the city is a bit old, so that is like also it says recruitment is closed. So even don't even worry about that. So now look down. Okay, there are a bunch of options now, right? So 300, 504. This looks good, right? A VIP. I've been fighting with VIP in the past. And then look at the IGF, and then this is Fatality, which is faction apply. So what I did is start applying and then look at their influence level at 115, 149, and they literally say it's recruiting new members, right? Recruitment now it's the recruitment period is closed, right? But actually when I apply, it says it's open. So therefore, I very quickly reach out to them, say, look, I want to apply. Actually, maybe we can use this chance to look at some factions maybe you want to apply. And for example, this Shim. Interesting. Let's look at that. So 505. And it takes a What they are yapping about? It's recruiting new members, recruiting raid leaders only. Okay, this faction has a requirement raid leaders only, and I'm a free-to-play player, so I'm not really a raid leader. I'm a filler, so I just don't worry about that. And what about this? Oh, this one city a bit older than me. What about literally nothing then. Anything newer than 385? This one. What I'm talking about. Then are they looking for people? This one we look at. Maybe this city is looking for people. Oh, they are almost full. I don't think they will take any new applicant though. So you see like that. So you sort by the queue ranking. And you find the faction you want to apply. Of course, according to you have to meet the requirements, right? For example, fatality, the one I'm looking at. At the time when I'm applying, it was saying, okay, the recruitment is open, so they said you can reach out to this R4 for the recruitment. So I did that. But before that, I also look at their requirements, say minimum, which is like star 9, right? And the 8% raid join bonus is a must, which I have star 9 troops, and I do have 8% raid join bonus. So look at those things, and if you want to like level up your account, you can think about that. People have requirement for your troop style, right? Troop style and also raid join bonus, right? Trying to reach those things. As a free-to-play player, you are able to get those requirements just like I did. So I changed the faction, and I sent my application, and my application got approved, so therefore I joined. And the feeling of joining this faction is very good. I immediately feel like the faction is much more active than my old faction, and also like I feel the events become easier. What I'm trying to say is like we have this like dark web events, right? You can steal other people's like task, and I immediately find like it's easier to find other like a golden tier, like level 4 like tasks to steal, right? Because this is newer city, so the city around, like people around this city or the other city in the same group, they are newer, so they are more active. For me, like you see like this, I see a lot of grand I can assist. In my old city, like it's very hard for me to find those grand tier tasks I can assist. And for like if I want to say I want to steal, for example, if you don't know, the best way to steal is go to this truck task and tap on any truck. For example, tap on this gray truck, right? Go there. Sorry. And then say hijack. Then you can see. Then you go to their city. Then you just zoom in and then go to their city hall, right? Which is here, and zoom out. You see, you can see there is a lot. There are a lot you can steal, right? You can see a lot. Let me just close this. It's easily to find some golden tasks you can steal. Let me see if what it already done. Oh, see, it's 15. It's pretty good. And but I don't have any available steals, so I can't really steal, right? I already reached the limit. So like I immediately find it's easier to play, and also for the truck tasks, I feel like it's easier to find some weak opponents. Look at this guy, and his influence is only 800, right? What about this guy though? Well, 802, right? So, and what about mine? So it's my truck, and if you look at anything happen, nobody attack me. So basically I found like it's easier for the truck run, it's easier for the dark web task, and basically moving to a city, like everything become more energized. Feel like go back to youth again. You get young again, right? Got that feeling. That's another reason I want to go to a newer city, just for your information. And I feel, and also this faction is strong, so it's very active, and so I got a lot of benefit for doing the getting for the gift. So look at this. I constantly having those gift box able to pick up. But look at that. So which give you a very good chance you can get like contracts. Sometimes like elite tier contract, sometimes even grand tier contract, which is very, very good. And you constantly get this big gift, right? So I feel like immediately like this game become fun again. So I would say like that's the first feeling, the positive side of changing the faction, and also like I'm looking forward to win the government war in the coming government war. I think now you can see the chaos of like a season of chaos registration is opening in 2 days, 1.5 days. So I'm looking forward to maybe we can win the government war, get more rewards. So that's good things. But everything have a double edge, like a good side and bad side. So let's talk about what's the bad side of changing the faction. Immediately, I'm not able to join the Supreme Glory of Oakville. I can't join this event because I was registered under the faction which is AMF, right? I'm still registered under this faction. Right now, their influence is 96 billion, right? So I can't join them because I left them already. I can only join them unless I go back. But of course, I already joined the new faction. I'm going to stay with them, with my new family. And I can't really do anything on this event. And you see these events are going to last for another 38 days. So basically, in the next 1.5 months time, I have nothing to do with Supreme Glory of Oakville. The only thing I can do is maybe just do the speculation, right? Maybe you can do some betting, right? I can do this, but I can't join any fight. And also, the event just finished with a Race of Dawn. Like a Race of Dawn, you can join a raid which only like a countdown is only 2 minutes. That is pretty fun because that's a primary resource. You can get more token for this lady, right? For this iceberg. And I can't join that because I was registered under like a AMF, so I can't join. And also like I missed all the family currencies which I can farm for finish the task for Race of Dawn. So yeah, so I immediately like apart from a good side, the downside is I'm a lot like events I'm not able to join. I'm still able to join the Clash of City. It's not a problem. And some time limited events is okay. I can join all of them, no problems. And I joined this faction, which is Fatality, during faction call-out event. But before I transfer over, I already finished all my 11 tasks and get all the rewards. So that's not a problem. So, but if you didn't finish the task or you didn't pick up rewards before you transfer, then you will not able to participate and collect the rewards for call-up faction. So just something for you to consider, right? So for me, I finished all the tasks and collect all the rewards. Then I did the transfer, and but I still missed all the benefit and the gameplay for Supreme Glory of Oakville. And also I lost the chance for joining the Race of Dawn unless the next one come around. So I will, by that time, I will register under this Fatality new family. But for now, I just can't. See, it's a new collection again. So if you ask me, do I feel regret for moving to a new faction? Absolutely not. Right? I'm definitely happy with new faction. I'm looking forward to make some new friends here. I'm looking forward to get more rewards for here. I'm looking forward to join more fight here. Right? So yeah. But at the same time, I want to share my experience with you about how, lead as example, how I change faction, right? And how I choose faction and how I choose cities and why I'm doing that. So I hope this video help you make a decision if you are also making the move. Because right now we are in the at the time when I'm making this video, as you see, the registration of government war is starting. So I think a lot of people is changing the faction right now. I know it's a bit late at this stage because like usually people start changing the faction once the government war finish. But we still in kind of the transition season, right? It's like football league, right? You have the match period, and after the league, the season finished, you have break. Usually you see those like football player, they transfer their teams. This is the time for us to transfer a team if you want, right? So I hope this video help you, and again, thank you for watching the video, and Happy New Year. I'll talk to you later. Bye.